Hi everyone, Miriam here. Welcome back to another week of presentation on the Nigerian light crude. So today I will be exploring the intricate relationship between wars, political unrest, and geopolitics, as well as their influence on the prices or success of the Nigerian light crude. So let's take a quick dive on my table of contents. So, firstly, I will be talking about the events that influence oil prices in Nigeria. Second will be influence of the event on the oil prices. Next, I will talk about the duration of the event and adjustments made after that, followed by future scenarios and possible future scenarios, and I will also be using economic reasonings. Then, to finish, I will give you a summary and then give a few recommendations. So, let's get straight into it. The Nigerian light crude market has seen various events causing an impact on the oil prices and the market. So, the first incident recorded was a series of attacks on different oil facilities in the Nigerian Delta area by different terrorist groups, and one of them is Boko Haram. You might have heard about them. So, the terrorist groups attacked the oil installations and abducted the workers operating in the factory. So Nigeria then became a member of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, and then became a regular oil exporter to the world. This membership vastly affected Nigeria's export strategies and its position as an oil exporter. So the global financial rises and inflation that are causing different world economies into a stirs have also grappled Nigeria. So the exchange rate volatility has an impact on the annual oil production of the country. Now let's move to the influence of the event on the oil prices. So you can see the chart right here. That shows you the oil production in Nigeria from the 1900 to 2019. So, all of these incidents had a significant impact on the prices of oil in their own different ways. Now, due to the attacks on those oil factories, Nigeria's oil production was considerably low, and since the global demand was high, the oil prices went up. So, Nigeria was supplying less quantity of oil, which led to super interruption, causing the market to tighten more and also inflate the prices of oils. So, with the membership, Nigeria hiked up its oil prices, and now 83% of the revenue earnings come from oil exportations. So, today, Nigeria's government's major source of foreign earnings come through oil exportation. Now, due to high volatility in the global prices, the Nigerian economy was not stable with the revenue associated with its oil exports. And when the prices were high, the countries had high revenues. But if the prices went down, there were budget deficits and reduced government incomes. Now, let's talk about the duration of the events and adjustments made after those events. We now know that there were terrorist attacks in Nigeria, so the military attacks continued in the early 2000s. And until now, small militant groups have attacked different factory sites, and the prices did not come back to their initial levels because of the demand in the global market. So Nigeria still continues to be a member of OPEC, and throughout the years, It has further strengthened Nigeria's export strategies, which also enabled Nigeria to increase their oil prices. So the price fluctuation in the global market listed for almost 5 years, and the prices of oil kept on decreasing and increasing on a regular basis. So it is hard to make an analysis on whether it remains at the same level or whether it increased or decreased due to severe fluctuations. Okay, so now let's move into part two. So let's look at future speculations. So, just like in the present, oil prices will fluctuate in the future as well. So, based on current event analysis, if Nigeria continues to be an OPEC member, they will have access to the global supply chain, and therefore they will be a prime supplier to developing nations and the US due to that membership. And Nigeria will also diversify their revenue earnings from different countries that rely on oil and might gain control over oil prices worldwide. So, another possible future scenario is that the external influence on price fluctuations due to changes in demand and supply, and also due to political factors and policies concerns towards the environment and technological advancement, might decrease the demand and the oil prices could increase. Now, let's look at the possible future scenarios. So, the world is moving across a future where reliance on natural resources become less and less, and that's because the world's leaders are coming together to build a sustainable future that uses conventional sources of energy to substitute the operation done by natural resources such as oil or petroleum. We've seen the impact that have been made on technology and really been praised for bringing good achievement in this. So, an example of that is electric cars today and electric car charging stations, which don't rely on oil or petroleum like traditional cars do. So, if that future scenarios comes to life and technological advancement substitutes oil and petroleum, the global demand will decrease considerably. And in that scenario, oil prices will be impacted and it would continue to decrease. So let's look at the economic reasonings. So if in that scenario the global demand would not be stable, the countries that would not be able to adopt technological advancement will be mostly third world countries, and exporting oil would not bring in considerable revenues for Nigeria's um, oil factories. So the entire supply chain would be interrupted, and the market would not trade if the oil prices were high. So, moreover, if foreign governments impose restrictions on importing oils, it would become really difficult for Nigeria to export their oil at high prices, which would force them to decrease their prices in order to export and gain foreign earnings. Now, let's look at our conclusion, and I'll follow that by giving a few recommendations. So, from the historical findings and analysis, it is now concluded that Nigeria is one of the key countries that supply oil to the rest of the world. But the country has been under various kinds of conflicts, and it has been exposed to fluctuating external factors that have also caused an impact on their prices. So the government still continues to face them, but even after all of that, oil is the major source of foreign revenue for Nigeria. So now here are my recommendations. So, in order to tackle the militant groups, the Nigerian government has to implement strong and strict actions to curb these attacks by deploying more intervention and more soldiers at the factory sites. And it should form an organization that would deal with the military attacks and also eradicate the groups causing the chaos in the description above. So the government should also look forward to actively forming deals with countries that it supplies oil to, like the USS, with active deals and negotiations in place, which would help Nigeria have a hold on their oil prices. And here are my references. Thank you.